Yeah.
Okay, I think we're ready to go.
He misses his friend. Okay. All right.
Can you see Grandpa?
Yes, I can.
Good.
So, last time we talked about Grandma's parents, and this time I'd like to talk about Grandpa's parents.
Okay. And what do you want me to start with and do?
Whatever
What
you
time
want.
you were born?
You want to start with me?
You can.
You want to start
Yeah,
with
we
me?
can do that too.
Okay, you start with me and then go to Grandpa Comstock and then Great Grandpa Comstock.
Just don't elaborate it too long.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Something happened to you guys' video. Oh, there it goes. Never mind. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, I was born on October 12th, 1934, in Miles City, Montana.
I thought it was a gallon of milk.
to Herbert Laverne Comstock and Fern Amanda Clark. And we lived there until I was 8 years old. And I started school there at Garfield Grade School when I was 5. And when I was 8, we moved to Washington. And that's where I spent my remaining my younger years was in Washington. We lived in a housing project for war people.
Oh, just a minute, hon.
And then my folks bought a home on the beach. Your mom remembers that, on the beach. And they were there until about I don't know, the late 70s, early 80s. I spent some time at Olympic College in Bremerton and the University of Washington in Seattle. And, I went to work for Bureau of Public Roads and worked for them. I was drafted in the Army in 1957 and discharged in 1959, at which time I met your grandma. And we were married in 1960 in the Salt Lake Temple. And your mother knows the rest of the history.
Is that what you said?
Okay, then.
Oh, definitely.
I gotta open my book up here to keep track of where. I've lost I lost track of one of my pages, but that's okay. My father was born in Ladysmith, Wisconsin in 1903, and he worked for the
Sorry, keep going.
He worked for the Milwaukee Railroad in Miles City, and we had a small farm on what was called the Island in Miles City area, and we were there until 1941 during the war, and he was a licensed stationary engineer. And he ran a powerhouse there for the railroad. And then he went to work for the Navy Yard in Bremerton as an electrician. And he was there for quite a few years. He retired from there. And but then we moved out to the beach, and that's where my brother and I grew up. And we had boats all the time. We had at least one boat that had boats, and that's like fish and that right on the water. So it was a neat place to grow up. And Grandma Comstock, Myrna Amanda Clark, was born in South Dakota. What was it?
Do you remember the city?
Yeah, she was born in Pierre, South Dakota. It'll be in that book.
How do you get it? Okay.
And her family moved to Montana. I don't have the year, but they moved in a wagon and lived on what they called a homestead for a while. and it wasn't. They couldn't make enough off the land to support them, so they left the homestead and went into Miles City, and there she went to school and graduated high school there. And Grandpa Comstock graduated from high school there. But Grandpa Comstock had gone to a one-room schoolhouse until from first grade through the eighth grade. Then he had to go into town to school. And when he got into town, the kids that lived there and that chided him for coming from that one-room schoolhouse, like he would, what did you learn there, kind of thing. And then one of the first things happened to him, he entered the school as a freshman, entered the school spelling bee, and he won it for 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. And so those guys that chided him said, "Where'd you learn to spell like that?" And he said, "In that one-room schoolhouse." But
Can you hear him all right?
Yeah.
But he got his education that way, and then they met while they were in Miles City, and then my brother was born on October 30th of 1942, and so when we moved to Washington, I was 8 years old and he was 8 months old. And so he doesn't remember much anything from back there.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
Tell him about your dad built the house you lived on?
Oh yeah. The house
Lived in.
The house we lived in, my father had built. And, the first house we didn't, but then he tore that down and built another house. And so he said he was a good carpenter and he could do electrical work. He said he was a jack of all trades, but a master of none. So he was able to do a lot of that. In fact, he helped my brother build 2 houses. And I like to have things. I was accustomed to ready-made things, like a house is already built. So we always bought houses that were already built, so I have to worry about that.
They were in that house this is on Watauga Beach.
It'd be Autuaga.
In Port Orchard along Puget Sound.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
For record.
Yeah, and my father that's where he lived, he says, "Well, we eat beads and live on the Sound," referring to Puget Sound. Well, he had a great sense of humor, and I was a great guy. But then my great grandfather.
Just a minute, can I tell him something else about your grandpa?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, I know it's not my, but Grandpa Comstock and Grandma Comstock, they had 2 boys. So when he got married, they were so excited to have a daughter. That was me, and they treated me just so good all the time. They get that charm bracelet. He bought that for me, a charm at a time, and he was just always doing things. And Grandpa would go to work, and they'd take me to lunch day after day after day. The 3 of us would go, but Grandpa would be at work. And he loved Denny's Cafe. In fact, where he's buried up in Washington, it's on a hill, and you can look down and see a Denny's. So I thought about that, and I thought I wanted to. He was a wonderful man, wonderful, wonderful.
When Grandpa and Grandma Comstock, your great grandpa and Grandma Comstock, were on a cruise, and they would come down with us, and we took them down to Long Beach to leave. But they told Grandma that there was actually a ticket for 3, and so if she wanted to go with them, she could. They didn't ask me. They asked Grandma. Thank heaven she didn't go and leave me with the kids.
I had 5 kids.
No, they're great. And I didn't know my grandpa and Grandma Comstock. They passed away before I was born. But Alonzo Comstock was my father's father, and
Great-grandpa.
great-grandpa, and
Mhm.
he was born on October 10th of 1857 in Prescott, Wisconsin, and he died in Miles City, Montana, in 1931. And my grandma's name was Loretta Ridgman, and so we got you'll find a lot of Ridgmans in our line, and besides in the Comstock line. And she was born in Bay City, Wisconsin, and
She was born where her mother was.
and on November 16th, 1867. So, and he was my grandfather, great-grandfather was a carpenter, a builder. He built homes and houses and that. And but that's about all I knew about him. The only stories I know about him is what my father told me. And he told me that his father, my great-grandfather, had my grandfather always had a beard. When he married my grandmother, he had a beard, and he always had a beard. And my dad was in his teenage years. His family went to town to get some things. They come back, and there's a strange man in the house. And they tried to run him off, and who it was my grandfather had shaved his beard, and nobody recognized him. They thought it was some strange man in their house. But so that's.
I don't think even his wife had seen him without a beard.
No, she hadn't.
No, but I mean,
Nobody
even
ever seen him without his beard.
no beard. Not even his wife had not seen him.
But Grandpa and Grandma Clark, I knew them quite well. In fact, Grandma knew them.
Now, who were they? Grandma and Grandpa Clark.
That was
His mother's parents.
yeah. That was Elmer Clark and Persis Clark. Persis Geist was her name.
You have a picture on there.
Huh? Yeah, we got that. The picture we have on the wall here is of
Wow.
that. Huh?
I just wanted to show
You want me to show you that picture of them that we have on the wall?
Sure.
You just bring it over. Bring it over. Take that over. Like.
Well, no, just bring it over here. Oh yeah, bring it over here. Bring it over here.
Okay.
Here. They were more carried. They were
never
more
mind. Go ahead.
carried.
It's fine.
I'm sorry. His grandma and Grandpa Clark were characters too. You know, they just were. We remember they come to our house in Salt Lake. You know.
Oh, that's cool.
He was 94 when he died.
Can you see that okay?
Mhm.
Okay, this is a very special picture to me of them because it's a really good picture I have of them. There was my sister-in-law wanted this picture, and I didn't want her to have it. And we had a little bit of discussion about it. Well, there was also some handmade rugs that my great-grandmother had made, and they were and so she wanted them too. So I told her the rugs whatever they were didn't have any meaning to me. But I told her, I said, you can have your choice. Which one do you want? I knew she'd take the handmade one. So that's what she took, and I got the picture, and I'm really happy to have it. And it hangs in a prominent place with the rest of the family pictures.
So what's the little picture then in front of the frame?
Oh,
the
little one of your parents.
Because there's the big one and then there's the little one.
There's that little picture of your parents, your mom and dad.
Oh yeah, that's it.
You can take it off.
I think this was taken on their 50th anniversary.
A little higher.
This is Grandpa's parents.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's my mom and dad.
You want it closer?
No, it's fine. That's cool.
Okay. So that's it. And your mother got to meet them when we got married. We decided to one of the places we were going to stop was in Arizona. My grandpa and grandma had moved from Miles City, Montana, to Arizona when he sold his businesses, and so we they lived out at the foot of Superstition Mountain there in Arizona at Apache Junction. So we went out there to visit them, and he took us and showed us around the area and all that. And then several times they come by where we lived, and we visited with them. And one time my grandpa went into the woods and found a bunch of moss and made a beard. And he came out and trying to scare us grandkids. But they all had a sense of humor. But I knew my great grandma, and she was.
I want to tell something about your grandpa first.
Yeah. Which one? Yeah.
That one.
I did. They homesteaded in Miles City. They come by wagon, and they couldn't make it on the homestead. So he went out and he started a business, an upholstery business, and then it went into a store, some other business. He started other businesses. Then when he retired, he sold those businesses to some of my uncles. So they remained in Miles City, but they moved to Arizona. And while in Arizona, he built a house in Arizona in Mesa, and then they moved from there on out to I can't remember town out towards other ways. And he built another house and found out that so he started building houses, and he built several houses. In fact, he built a subdivision. And the streets in that subdivision were named Clark. But he decided that he had retired. He was tired of working, so he quit building houses, and they moved out to he built a house out of the Superstition Mountains. And he needed something to do, so he started collecting rocks. And he bought himself a polisher and a rock cutter and that, and he would make jewelry and lamps and different things. I have some of his bow ties.
He made them, excuse me, the one stone he used a lot, he collected quartz, the little, but what they call Apache tears. And Grandpa has a bolo tie that had Apache tear. I have some earrings that he made for me, and he just became really good. People wanted to buy them.
But he walked into the general store there at Apache Junction, and the owner says, "Well, where'd you get that?" He says, "Well, I made them." And he says, "You make that?" He says, "Oh yeah, I make this." So he says, "I'd like to see what you make." So he went back home, got some stuff he made. That he says, "That'd be really great to have here in store. Will you put them in here under consignment?" And so he went back and he got busy again making. He'd make lamps out of cactus wood, and then he made the jewelry out of the different stones that he had cut, and what they call thunderstones and Apache tears and agates, and things that he'd make these out of. And he decided that he thought he had retired, so he quit doing that, and they moved back to Montana, and he took up fishing. He loved to fish. He took up fishing. And when he got older, like into his late 80s or early 90s, we were going to take his driver's license from him. And he bought that. He said, "Well, I have to drive the car to go fishing." And so they said, "Okay, your driver's license will have this thing on it. You can drive to go fishing." So everywhere he went, no matter where it was, he had a fishing pole in the car, and he was going fishing. That was kind of his sense of humor too. But they were both great grandparents, and my great grandmother.
Can I tell them one thing about your grandpa?
Go ahead.
Clark. Grandpa Clark, his grandpa Clark, his name is Elmer Persis Clark.
Not Persis.
Oh, Persis was his wife. Sorry, Elmer Clark. There in Apache Junction where they lived, they lived way out. And in the desert is what it was, but into mountains. And that store was just like a strip mall. There were just always maybe 2 or 3 things there. That whole area is, I don't know how many stakes in the church there are now there. And there's a temple there now. That has just all grown up. I guess we haven't been there, but I guess we'd never ever recognize it because it has grown so much in that area.
we went out there to visit. We spent several days there, but we wanted to go to the temple in Mesa, and so we had a room there in Mesa. And we went out there and we visited. Time to leave, and so we told him we'd leave and be back the next day. And my grandpa said, "Oh, why don't you stay here with us? We'd love to have you stay here with us." And my grandma says, "Dad, they just got married. They don't want to be around us tonight. They want to be alone." But that was Grandma, and Grandma told my mother. My mother tells me this, that she told all of her children. She had 13. She says, I raised 13 children. I'm not going to raise any more. You raise your own children. I won't. I'm not going to watch or tend any of them. Well, she did me when my brother was born. That's the only time I remember her doing that.
You know, the Clark, you know Dylan's name?
Yeah.
That's where Clark come from, you know.
Yeah.
Was that?
Then Amanda, that was my mother's name.
Yep. Her and Amanda. And your great Ella Amanda, right?
For Ella?
Ella Amanda Geist. Right?
Okay. What did you say, sweetheart?
Ella Amanda Geist. Your great grandmother or
Ella?
great? Yeah.
What was her last name?
Geist. Or
Geist.
G-I.
That's your Grandma Clark's mother.
Oh yeah. Right. And we've got a 5-generation picture of great grandma Geist, my grandma, and my cousin Sylvan Clark and his daughter, and my aunt Katie. So they're 5 generations there. And
Sylvan Harsh.
yeah, Sylvan Harsh is his name. He was not a Clark. That was right.
I think it's in that book. You know, in that maroon book. A picture of that.
Yeah. So, but that book was pretty much done by Grandma Comstock.
I think she's frozen.
Yeah.
I think you're frozen in time, Amanda. Can you hear us?
Your picture is frozen, sweetheart.
I don't know if she could hear us or not. You need to move that just a tiny bit? Hear her so. No, that's enough for you. That's enough.
Can you hear us now?
Help! Call on her line.
Huh?
You should call me on the house phone. Hello, Amanda. Hi, Amanda. Now what do we do?
A second here.
What does that say?
Burning for this video. Waiting for people to view this video call.
I don't think I did that by doing that. Did you, Henry? Put your name with it.
There's darling.
Not darling.
Call not allowed.
Oh, try Nancy's. I didn't mean to interrupt you. It was one of the other things I wanted to know about too, you know. You had to answer the ring.
Yes.
Maybe we didn't move it. You know, we should have moved it before
Nancy.
something's coming.
Nancy home.
Huh?
Nancy home.
No.
Nancy cell.
Oh, you're calling her. Yeah, yeah. Nancy's home. I thought you were asking me a question. It'd come up there, not it. I wonder if we should have done this. We didn't do this.
Oh, we didn't do that.
What the orange things say?
Live. Oh, come on.
Oh, here's Andrew.
What?
Here's Andrew. Here, I don't know what's happening. I put it on and it's got a. It's working, whatever it is.
Not doing anything.
Back up that.
Okay.
Greet those guys. Maybe Andrew will be able to help us too. There's something going on. There's a fan. Amanda? Well, that's our fan.
Yeah.
Hey!
Wait, can you
We
see
see
me?
you.
I can't see you guys anymore.
There, I hear you now.
Okay, on the phone or on the computer?
On the
Computer.
TV. On the computer, yeah.
On the computer. I can't see you guys anymore.
You see your fan.
You know what I think, Amanda? I think that we didn't move the thing enough. We didn't move it. We can't. We see your fan.
Now, hold on.
Huh? And they go-
Sorry. I don't know what's going on with my computer.
There, that's better. Yeah, let me go get that. Welcome,
It's
Andrew.
not working on my computer.
There.
You're doing better. You're coming back. You're coming back.
You know what? I think we hadn't moved the thing. The
No, no,
The
it, I think it's be my computer too because
Oh, get the door. Okay.
yeah,
Grandpa got to get the door.
what'd you say, sweetie?
somehow my computer too. Hold on, let me try to get back on it.
You want me to stay as is?
We got your picture on the thing.
Something. Hi.
I've seen you for a while.